and by Circa Sports. Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be. On the voice of the Cardinals, KMOX.
The pitch on the way, and that's a ground ball up the middle, fielded by the shortstop, and Lopez throws out Church. This ball game has come to an end. And Miami has won the first two games in the series. 4-0 last night, 5-1 tonight.
Welcome into the Circa Sports Extra Innings Show. Joe Pott with you from Busch Stadium as the Cardinals fall to the Marlins tonight by a final of 5-1. The offensive struggles continue for the Redbirds, and now they're going to try to salvage a game from this three-game series here tomorrow afternoon. Happy to have you along, and happy to have you as part of the show. 314-436-7900 if you'd like to give us a ring, or easier still, jump on the streams. We're on X, we're on Facebook, we are on YouTube, and you can find us right there. And you can drop a comment in, and we will talk about it right here on the Extra Innings Show. Let's dig into it here and tell you kind of how it went down and what it looked like tonight for the Cards and the Marlins. And it started off easy enough for the Marlins. A one-out triple. Otto Lopez is on third base, and Kyle Stowers gets the Marlins on the board early in this one against the Cardinals starter, Andre Pallante.
The pitch by Pallante, a swing and a base hit into right center field. 1-0 in favor of the Marlins.
So just like that, the Marlins were on top. Kyle Stowers added another RBI in the third inning, and that made it a 2-0 game. They added two more in the fourth inning. Jacob Marcy doubled to start the inning. Sanoa drove him in with an RBI base hit. Xavier Edwards singled to drive in a second run in the inning, and that made it a 4-0 game. We get to the seventh inning. Actually, I should tell you, the Cardinals picked up their run in the sixth inning. It started with a one-out walk to Jordan Walker, so he's on base. Lars Nootbaar singled. It's two on base as Mason Wynn comes to the plate for the Redbirds in the sixth.
Mason Wynn swings, and a base hit right center field. Here's Walker coming around third, and he's going to score. The throw goes to the middle infield. The Cardinals have two hits and a walk to produce a sixth-inning run and trail by 3.
And that's your cut of the game. It's sponsored by the Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net. Now we get to the seventh inning, with Miami leading now in this ball game by a score of 4-1. But the seventh inning gets started with a base hit by Javier Sanoa against the Cardinals starter Andre Pallante, who then gets Joe Mack to ground into a double play. Xavier Edwards doubles down the left field side. That makes it a runner at second base, and it is the end of the night for Andre Pallante. Matt Swanson takes over. Otto Lopez is next for the Marlins, and he gives the Marlins a little insurance.
Next pitch to him is a little looper into right field. That's a hit. Walker charging hard. He comes up. We're going to have a play at the plate, and the throw is not in time. Past the sliding Edwards, and the Marlins pick up another run. They now lead 5-1.
Insurance Run of the Game is sponsored by Troxel Insurance in Central Illinois, proudly representing auto owners insurance. So Marlins get that last run there. They win it by a final of 5-1 tonight. And that's how it ended. The Cardinals got an okay start from Andre Pallante. If you just heard our network post-game show, he wasn't do or die. Then he wasn't really like do or die on the start. Kind of wrapped it up pretty pragmatically. Not the worst start. Jeff Jones asked him, or kind of compared this, hey, last year this might have been, a start that didn't get out of the fifth inning, and you pile up 100 and something pitches. And that's not the way it went tonight for Andre Pallante. And I was kind of thinking about that even before I heard that question from Jeff Jones, because tonight Andre Pallante doesn't even get to 100 pitches, and he gets you into the seventh inning. So on a night where it could have been more harmful, you have to use more bullpen guys, just got away from that. That's not the case tonight. Matt Swanson goes less than an inning. Justin Brule gives you 2 innings. You're in great shape for tomorrow. So it certainly could have been worse. Let's get to some comments real quick. Deadly St. Louis, I appreciate the love. He said a couple comments asking for more than weekends. Hey, if you can make that happen, I will be there for you. I appreciate that. And he says, "Oh no, we suck again." You got to think about that in the Rob Schneider voice from the Waterboy. Klaatu says there was a quick hook on Torres at third tonight. If there was such little faith in his ability to play third, maybe should have never been there to start with. I don't think it had as much to do with him playing third as it did then the Marlins going to the left-hander John King in the fourth inning, because that's when he came out. He was pulled for a pinch hitter for Jose Fermin there in the fourth inning when the left-hander John King came in. So I don't think it was a lack of faith in Brian Torres playing third base. And the only play that really didn't go his way was that sac bunt in the third inning that was initially ruled as an error, and then it was changed to a base hit anyway. But I thought that he was fine in the plays. He made him really nice 5-4-3, started a 5-4-3 double play to end that first inning. So I think that he was fine in his time at third base, and I don't think that's why the change was made. I think it just had more to do with the left-hander John King coming in, and they wanted to get Fermin in there instead. Let's take a look at some numbers here. I've got some numbers for you on a couple of guys that extended some on-base streaks tonight. First of all, Ivan Herrera extended his on-base streak to 22 games. Now, he's already got a 25-game on-base streak this year. So he's got two 20-plus game not hitting streaks, but on-base streaks this year. So he gets to 22 games. Alec Burleson gets to 25 games. He was hit by a pitch in the third inning, so that extended his streak to 25 games. That's his career high, and it matches the one I previously mentioned from Ivan Herrera as the longest for the Cardinals this year. By the Numbers is sponsored by Bank of Springfield. Bank boldly, bank with BOS, member FDIC. Both those guys are on a roll, at least in terms of getting on base, and that is sponsored by Circa Sports, sports betting the way it should be. So that is out of the way. Back to some comments here. Justin says the Cardinals lineup needs to do better. Ranking now 19th overall and 17th overall in run scoring. The offense needs to do better. Yes, the offense needs to do better, but I also think it's a product of maybe a little bit of overachieving early on, so maybe getting our hopes up a little bit, because I don't know that I think going into the year you probably would have expected this team to be middle of the league or, trending towards the bottom third of the league. I think that was the biggest question to this Cardinals club, is where the offense was going to come from. And you've seen a lot of good offense, especially from the top of the lineup, from Weatherholt, from Herrera, from Burleson. Obviously, we've talked a lot about and should be talking a lot about what Jordan Walker has done for this team this year. So I think, yes, I would like to see them get back to more closely to what they were doing. But I also do think maybe some of this is a little bit, I don't think it's like a regression to what we should expect or what we should expect for the rest of the year. But I think it's, if you look at this going in, I think it's closer to probably what we would have expected coming into this 2026 season, unfortunately. So I hope they can get that spark back. I think they will get that spark back. And when you listen to Oliver Marmol and you talk to those within the clubhouse or those around this team, as you might have heard in the pregame show, they're not really looking at this like, oh, we're on this 4-game losing streak. It's move on. You take what you can from the previous game and move on to tomorrow night. And in some cases, move on to the next series, whatever that looks like. So, again, I've said this so many times this year, but I'm really interested to see what does tomorrow look like, because they're in that skid again. They dropped those 2 to the Diamondbacks. You get rained out in the finale, obviously. That's going to change things up a little bit. But then you drop last night's game, and you got a really good start last night from Michael McGreevy, but you're also facing one of the best pitchers right now in the National League in Max Meyer. So, as I said, again, coming into tonight, that's really not, you're not dropping your head on that. Now, I would have expected more from this Cardinals offense against Ryan Gusto, who's not pitched a ton in the big leagues this year, didn't have a ton of innings in the big leagues this year, so I would have expected more, but it is what it is, and again, you move on. I'm really interested now to see what does tomorrow look like. How do they bounce back from this? That, in some regards, is more important to me than just, I want to see good offense. I want to see, as Rick Horton was asking for, some more power hitting, some more extra base hits. Yeah, I want to see all that. But I'm really more interested to see how does this team bounce back from a tough stretch. Because really, for the most part, if you look at what they have done this year, it has been they have done a remarkable job of bouncing back when there has been some issues or when there has been some extended streaks. Sorry, I have some keyboard issues over here. But when there has been some extended streaks, they have bounced back from that. They have not let those 3 games turn into 5 games, turn into 7 games, and so on and so forth. And it's somewhat there, or it somewhat feels like it could be getting there right now. This is now 10 out of 15, I think, that they've lost if I go back and look. But when you really look, they haven't had a lot of these extended losing streaks. So I expect it to be a bounce back tomorrow. I would hope it would be a bounce back tomorrow, and that this team would be in better shape coming out of tomorrow's series, but we'll have to wait and see for that. Tomorrow, by the way, it's a 1:15 first pitch. It's a 12:20 start for our pregame show here along the Cardinals radio network and, of course, on KMOX. Kyle Leahy will make the start for the Cards, 5-4 with a 4.24 earned run average. And then I had seen Tyler Phillips, but I don't know. That has not been confirmed yet for the Marlins as far as a starting pitcher goes. It could be something different. We haven't seen the confirmation yet on the Marlins. They have a TBA on the MLB site. I saw Tyler Phillips on another site, so we'll see what that looks like. But again, I have just been really impressed with what this club has done after either a particularly tough night or, again, a particularly tough series. I remember talking about it coming into what turned into a 6-game winning streak. They had dropped a couple to the Texas Rangers, they were looking to bounce back, and they did just that. So now I'm looking for that again. And to me, that's almost more important with a team like this, with a young team, to see how they do that. Maybe, again, now they had 3 quality starts coming into tonight's game. It was not a quality start, obviously, from Andre Palante tonight, but it was still an important start because it did not get away from Andre Palante. It was still a start that got your starter got you into the 7th inning, and that is a big, and not just into the 7th inning. He didn't just get to the 7th inning. He got you 2 outs into the 7th inning. So you really have plenty of bullpen to work with for tomorrow. And then this becomes a really interesting stretch for this Cardinals team because it becomes potentially a really difficult stretch for this Cardinals team. Atlanta scuffling just a little bit, but we know how good Atlanta has been this year, and that's where they go starting on Tuesday. It's an off day Monday. You go to Atlanta for 3 games. Then you go to Chicago for 3 games, which includes the 4th of July weekend. Then you come back home for Milwaukee for 4. Actually, that's a 5-game series now against Milwaukee. So starting on Monday the 6th, you have a 5-game series because of an earlier rainout, and then a 3-game series at home against Atlanta before you get to take a breath at the All-Star break. That is what at least on paper appears to be a monster schedule going into the All-Star break. So this is definitely one of those times. And again, if you bring this up, if I bring this up to Oliver Marmol, if I bring this up in the clubhouse, hey, this is a big stretch, or this is a test for this team, they're going to say no. This is just the next 3-game series or the next game that we have to play, and they'll go at it like that, and that's how they've done it all year. But I think for me, for you, for the listeners, for the fans, you're going to look at this as a test, and maybe the biggest test, probably the biggest test to this point, but a huge test for this team against very good competition, beginning with Atlanta, it's obviously already beginning with you're playing Miami is the best team in baseball in the month of June. But then getting into Atlanta, going to the Cubs, huge stretch with Milwaukee. So you've got a lot of division games right there. You've got 8 straight division games with that 5-game series with the Brewers that comes right after the 3-game series with the Chicago Cubs. So it's a big stretch, and I'm looking for the reaction. I'm looking for how this team responds. The response is a better term, not reaction, response. I'm looking for how this team responds to that as opposed to just, hey, they did a nice job on that Sunday, avoiding the sweep to the Miami Marlins. No, I want to see them get something started again. And it doesn't have to be a 6 or an 8-game winning streak, but I want to see them starting to get back to what we've seen this year from the Cardinals. As Justin says, let's see them get back to the offense that we have seen from them so far this year and the offense that we've come to expect. Even if it's better than what we would have expected to start the year, it's what we've come to expect from the year, and I want to see them get back to that as they get into this schedule. So tomorrow afternoon, 12:20, with our pregame coverage here on KMOX, 1:15 the first pitch. Kyle Leahy will throw it for the Cards tomorrow. I will have you back for that pregame show, and we'll talk all about it, and we'll do it all again all through tomorrow. Big thanks to the voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, to Rick Horton, to Mike Claiborne, to Jim Jackson in the booth upstairs, Emmett Kincannon helping out in the booth, but also with our post-game audio. Daniel Hinkamp is in our studio. He doesn't appear on my stream like some of our other producers do, so he's not in the little box tonight, but I assure you he is there, and he is in our flagship studio at KMOX. Couldn't do it without him. He keeps us in line and on time all afternoon long, so big thanks to Daniel. Big thanks to you for being part of the show tonight, for the interaction, for everything that we talk about. And we can do it again tomorrow as the Cardinals get set to face the Marlins tomorrow afternoon. I'm Joe Pott. Big thanks for hanging out for just a little bit tonight. Keep it here on the voice of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
Will be told to read. Here's ABC's Alex Perche.
The Texas Republican-controlled Board of Education approved a mandated reading list for its more than 5 million public school students that includes passages from the Bible. In elementary school, students will begin with a picture book series. In middle school, they will learn about the Sermon on the Mount and teachings about the kingdom of heaven. And in high school, students will read Bible passages alongside classical authors like Charles Dickens and Jane Austen. Now, while this is likely to face challenges, those changes would go into effect in 2030.
Massachusetts State Police confirmed 6 people were injured, 2 seriously, after a duck boat overturned on a ramp near the Charles River in Cambridge this afternoon.